welcome to another exciting tutorial here on EdNight. Please like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get more of our content. So today we are going to create a JavaScript calculator. We are gonna style it, build the interface using HTML and CSS, then the functionality with JavaScript. So it's going to be a very short but fun tutorial, so let's kind of jump right in. So I've opened my text editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to create my HTML file. This will be index.html. So first thing first, so I'm going to change the title to calculator. So the first thing I want to do is create a box. I'm going to name this box container. Then the next thing, I want to create an input. So I'll create an input with a class display, because this is where I'm going to display all the input from the user, and also the answer after the calculation is done. So I want to create another box where I will have all my buttons. So I'll name this box button grid. Spelled that. So now I will need to create buttons for the input where the user can actually punch in the mathematical equation he or she wishes to do, or something like that. So button. So this button is going to be of type button. It's going to have a value of 1 and ID. Let me just give this ID data, because it's actually the data that will be entered by the user. So I'll just copy this, paste and paste into 4 times. I'll have 2, 3, then an addition symbol. So the value 2 will change. This will be an addition, this will be 3, and this will be 2. So I think that is kind of good. So let me copy that and paste again. So this will be 4, 5, 6, then minus. This process is a little bit tedious, but we just have to do it, so it won't take that long. So we have 5 and we have 6 and minus. So we want to paste again. Now 7, 8, 9. Then we have a multiplication sign. Let's change the value. Remember to change the value. 7, 8, what is wrong? 8, 9. Then I have a multiplication. Paste again. 9. So this will now be 9, a decimal point, 0. What operator am I missing? Okay, I'm missing the division and the exponent. So where is this? Okay, exponent. So no, the value of this exponent will be double multiplication. So we have the division 0 and the decimal point. So I want to paste one last time, and this time around we'll have the bracket open, then the bracket close. We also have the clear button, but this wouldn't have a value and a class. We'll just have clear. The ID will be equal to clear. Okay, misspelled clear. Okay, it's correct now. So this will be the equation, or the equal to. So the ID will be equals to equation, or let us make it equal. So I think we are done with the HTML for this project. So let's just see what it looks like. Let's save, copy part, go to a browser and paste. So everything looks good. We have all our buttons. So let's start styling. So I'll just go to my head, add my style tag. Let me just do internal CSS rather than just creating another file, because we won't be writing that much of CSS. So the first thing I want to kind of style is this container. So let me call the container. Sorry for that. And container. So I have this container. So what style do I want to give to it? Oh, firstly the width. Okay, let's use like 300 pixels. I think that is enough. So the next thing I'm going to go for is the button grid. The button underscore grid. So I'm going to make the width 100%, so it takes 100% of the width, and I'm going to make the display flex, and the flex wrap, the content should wrap. So I'm also going to justify content to go to the center, so everything will be positioned at the center. So let's change that. So I think it's looking good. So let's style more. The next up, the buttons. So let's style the buttons. Okay, now I want to add a padding of 15 pixels top and bottom, and 25 pixels left and right. Let's text that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, doesn't look that bad. So yeah, let's add a little gap of 10 pixels. The button grid. So let's remove. So everything is looking good. I think I like it. So I don't actually like this border on this button. So I'm going to make the border to be 0, but I'm going to add a little bit of border radius. Just remove the edges. So let me just make it 5 pixels. I don't want it to be too much. So I think everything is looking good. So I want the cursor to be a pointer, so I'm going to make that change. I'm going to make the cursor a pointer. So I also want to add a hover effect. So button on hover. So when I hover it, I want it to kind of shrink a little bit. So we are going to have the transform and the scale. So I'm going to go 0.9. This is going to make it shrink a little bit. So let's resave that and let's try. Okay. So when I click on it, I want it to like get back to the normal distance. So I'm going to select the after the active state. So when it's active, transform, I'm going to scale 1. Just go back to the original shape, the original size. So it's already working, but it's just too fast. So let's add some transition. So for that, I'll use my universal selector. So I'll transition, I make 0.5 second. So let's save that. Okay, everything is looking good. I like how everything is going. So next up, let's type this input. So it is of class display. The class is display, so let's type that. So what do I want to add to this? I want this to use 100% of the width. So let's make that 100%. So what next? And I want to add a padding of like let's just say 10 pixels. Let's try 10 pixels for now. So let's save it. Let's reload. Let's see how things look. So it's kind of going out of the box. But let me just give a background color to this box, so I'll be sure. So background color, let me just give it any color. Let me save that. Reload. So this input is going out of the box. So how do we handle that? We are going to use this border box. So we are going to make the box size into the border box. I think that should handle it. So it handled it. So I'm going to add some margin bottom, maybe like 15 pixels. So the input. So I think everything is looking good. So let's remove this background color. It's kind of horrible. So I think everything is looking good and everything is just looking beautiful. So I want to center this container. So for that, I will need to select my body. So I'm going to select the body, and first I'll make the height. I'll make it use 100% of the height, 100 view height. And what next? I'll make the display a flex and justify content, center, align item, center. This is literally the easiest way to center any element or any object on your web page. It is the simplest way. Using flexbox, justify content, and align item. This is the simplest way to center things. So I think we are done for our CSS. So are we still missing anything? I think we are done. We have the layout for our calculator. So let's move over to our JavaScript. So I have my script tag. I'm also going to do this internal. No need of creating a separate file for this because the code isn't that much. Just we are not even going to write up to 10 lines of code if we are concise with our code. So the first thing I want to select is every button on my page. So let's select all the data buttons. So how to do that, I'm going to have let's name a variable, and this variable will be data. So data will be equals to document dot query select all. So I want to select all. So all elements with the id data. So I'm going to be selecting all elements with the id data. Literally or by default, this data has become an array now. So to actually add an event listener to it, because I actually need to add an event listener to every of the button, so that when you click on it, you can see, we can get the value of what you clicked. So to do that, I will have to loop over the array or something like that. So I'll use the for each loop. So now the array is data, and the elements, let's just go with element, or rather let's go with input. The element will be input. So now let's continue. So now what do I want to do now? We are going to create a variable and name that variable calculation or something, because this variable is going to save all the inputs that we are going to actually give to the calculator. So we are going to have calculation, this is the variable that will save the calculation. So this will be equals to a string. So now the next thing, I need to get the value of this button. Okay, first I will add an event listener to these buttons. So I can select individual button using input. So button input dot add event listener. So I want to listen for clicks, and I want to add this function. So this is kind of the easiest way to just write a function in JavaScript. So what next? So now I need to access the value of the button when I click on it. So we have the value attribute already in the button. So let's kind of see if I can access that. Let's console.log something. So console.log input dot value. So let's see if I can get it. So let's save that and open a console. While we wait for that, we refresh our page. Okay, so let's click on. So everything is working perfectly. So now let's display it. So now we don't need this console.log anymore, so let's clean it. So now let's save the value of whatever input that we have to this calculation variable. So firstly, what we are going to be doing is we are going to append, or rather say increment, whatever input we have. to the calculation. It is a string already, so appending or incrementing it will just join them together like a sentence or something like that. So we are going to increment the value of calculation by anything our user input. So now we want to get this input area, this input display is where we are going to be displaying the this thing, the input and the output. So let's continue. So I'm going to name a variable. This variable is going to be display, is going to be equals to document dot query selector. It's a class, so I add a dot before I add the class name. So now display dot value should now be equals to calculation. So let's save that. Let's see how perfect that works. So hope it works. Okay, we're having a problem. Okay, we forgot to add the value because what we don't actually want to get the input itself, we want to get the value of the input. So let's save that. So let's reload. So we can see it's working, but we still have a problem. It's not kind of appending together. It's just when I click on this, the other one, to the value, rather let's do it this way. Let's make the value of calculation to be equals to the input value, then I will then append whatever value is the calculation to the display area. So I think that should work it. So let's kind of test it. Let's reload. We enter. So everything is working perfectly. Yes. So let's go over to the equal to button, so that when we click on the equal to, we would have the result of whatever equation that we have entered. So for that I would need to select this equal button. So I will document dot query selector. So it's an ID, so I'll add a hash, then the ID is equal. So what do I actually want to add to this? Okay, firstly I want to add an event listener. So I want to listing for click as usual. So when I listen for click, I want to add a function. Control Z, sorry for that. So what next? So now I want to kind of calculate whatever value is in our display value, something like that. So I want to kind of calculate it. So I'm going to use the ever reserve word to do that. So this ever reserve word is going to give me like a calculation. It's going to calculate whatever is passed to it. whether it's a string, is going to convert it to integers and do the calculation, something like that. So when we have that, so I want the I want to also display this. So the display dot value will be equal to this. So let's reload. Let's do 1 plus 1 should be equal to 2. So that's correct. 2 plus 2 minus 2 should be 0. So the next thing, we need to work on the clean button, on the clear or clean button, anyone want to call it. So let's work on the clear button. So I need to select this in my JavaScript. So I'll just come down here and document dot query selector. So what do I want to select? The clear button. So it's an ID, so please don't forget to add the hash. So I want to add an event listener, and I'll be listening for clicks, and when someone click on this, I want to add a function. So this function is supposed to clear whatever is in the display. So I'm just going to set the display value to nothing. I think that will clear everything. So let's save that and let's kind of work that. So 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So I cleared that. 558 times 7 is equals to 406. So I can clear. So everything is working perfectly. So guys, we have it. This is a calculator, a very simple calculator, not that hard. We didn't write that much line of code to make this calculator a reality. You can actually extend on this calculator, build more, maybe add more functionalities, but for now this is all we are going to do concerning this calculator. This is supposed to be a simple tutorial. Please, if this tutorial was useful to you, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Thank you for watching.